Tonight, first Niuean inducted to the International College of Dentists. Community and government representatives talk about climate change-induced loss and damage. And public meetings held to hear views as part of Health Department's Performance Improvement Framework Assessment. Good evening, whakaalofalahi atu, I'm Esther Pavihi. Welcome to our BCN News Bulletin. And of course, a warm whakaalofalahi atu to all our viewers from across the Pacific, thanks to our friends at Pacifica TV. Tonight we begin with some great news about a young dentist, the first Niuean to be inducted as a Fellow of the International College of Dentists. Dr. Leroy Tatui was nominated by colleagues in Australia, recognising his work in Niue and in the Pacific. Dr. Tatui is Head of Dentistry at the Niue Health Department. Here's the story. Dr. Leroy Tatui said that he was thrilled, but downplayed the news when he was told in March this year that he is one of 4 Pacific Island dentists inducted as a Fellow of the International College of Dentists.
I was, thrilled, and I sort of downplayed it. I didn't think that I would be nominated and recognized for, doing something I love, my line of job and helping the people of Niue. The International College of Dentists, they serve as a professional body for dentists. I was nominated by colleagues from Australia, recognizing my work here in Niue and some work I've done in the Pacific. So I got nominated, and the process goes through their board and they select. And I was just notified, I think, in March this year that I was successful in my nomination.
Dr. Tatui graduated from the Fiji School of Medicine, and in 2018 he completed his Masters at the University of Auckland.
Did my undergrad in Fiji, that's where I qualified as a dentist, and also a Masters in International Health at the University of Auckland, I think 2018. And being back, and I really have a strong interest and passion for helping out Niue.
The young father of 4 is from a family of health practitioners. His mother, Puasina, a nurse, and his late grandfather was head of public health for many years. His sister is a doctor, and his wife is also a dentist, Dr. Patricia Tatui.
Yes, my passion for, helping people in healthcare in general is from my mom and my granddad. We have a family background of health workers, so they sort of pulled me towards this profession.
And congratulations again to Dr. Leroy Tatui and to your family. In other news, the national consultation on climate change-induced loss and damage took place this week. Acting Prime Minister Honourable Esa Mona Ainu delivered the keynote address. She was joined by New Zealand High Commissioner His Excellency Mark Gibb and the Director of Climate Change for the Regional Environment Programme, Tangaloa Kupa. The National Dialogue provides a critical platform for government, civil society, private sector, and community representatives, including the youth, to share their experiences, amplify the call for action, and help find possible solutions to the existential threat of climate change. Here's more. Acting Prime Minister Honourable Esa Mona Ainu delivered the keynote address and shared some of her experiences as one of the region's leaders who attended many international meetings about climate change over the years. After nearly 30 years of calling for recognition for climate change-induced loss and damage, in 2022 that call was finally answered at COP27. The Loss and Damage Fund was initiated with a pool of $700 million, which now stands at $731 million. Minister Ainu is one of the regional champions. She shared how frustrating and difficult it is to convince the world that the islands of the Pacific are suffering, especially the low-lying islands that are sinking due to sea level rises. The Loss and Damage Project, with funding support from the New Zealand Government, is committed to supporting inclusive and informed decision-making by building national capacity, fostering open dialogue, and ensuring that Niue is well equipped to navigate the complex challenges of climate-induced loss and damage.
From New Zealand's point of view, obviously, we're really pleased to support this partnership between Niue and SPREP. because we want to do everything we can to raise awareness around climate-related loss, climate-related damage, and also want to establish clear measures about how we measure the impacts, because we can always talk about the damage and that, but what's the impact, understanding the impact.
Tangaloa Cooper is the Director of Climate Change and Resilience Program at the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program, commonly known as SPREP.
Climate change is everyone's business, and that's why it's the business of the community. It's the business of the mamas at the market. It's the business of the Public Service Commission, the Office of the Secretary of Government, our partners, and it is the business of the churches. And we all know that the churches have convening power in the Pacific countries. So I think we all need to take this journey together.
Meanwhile, young leaders at the consultations on Tuesday are calling for youth to have a seat at the table. Young people say that they want to be involved. Some of them have been involved attending COP meetings and representing young people from the Pacific, but they would also like to do more to help the cause. 2 young public servants shared their experiences being some of the young people fortunate to attend COP meetings. Ashley Pihingia, a graduate from the University of Auckland, works for the Health Department. She's also the PA for the Minister of Health. Taveli Pavihi, a graduate of the Victoria University of Wellington, is the Climate Change Officer working at the Department of Environment. They said that young people are active in the climate change conversation through programs such as 350org, Pacific Youth programs, but they are also reminded of the cultural norms that young people must respect their elders and their leaders. They said one way they can help elevate and amplify the voice of young people in the climate change space is through multimedia programs. There was also a call to establish a loss and damage unit within the government to facilitate and prepare proposals to access the Loss and Damage Fund. Climate justice advocate Jamal Talangi Vedriaki said that people are tired because of the many responsibilities and many hats we wear. She said that it is time to bring in our people living overseas to help us because our biggest issue is the limited capacity to deliver many programs needed because we just don't have the people to do the work. This sentiment was also shared by others in the forum, including Director of PMCU Felicia Talangi, who said that there is a need for more boots on the ground, more bodies to help with the work. Felicia Talangi said that now is the time to get our house in order, so when the fund is ready, we are ready. A regional dialogue on loss and damage will take place in Samoa in August, and Niue is expected to send a delegation to this important meeting.
In August this year, all of this work will culminate in Samoa in a loss and damage regional dialogue. Before that will be 2 days only for the youth of the Pacific. And then it will be the countries of the Pacific. And then it will go into a climate change roundtable.
Next week, BCN News will have more stories about loss and damage from a regional perspective. The Department of Health, in partnership with the University of Auckland, has been holding meetings with the villages on the island this week as part of their Performance Improvement Framework Assessment. These meetings is an opportunity for the people to share their views and experiences about the healthcare system on the island to help shape the future of healthcare on Niue. Yesterday evening, they met with people from the villages of Alofi South, Alofi North, Tamakotonga, Makefu, Tuapa and Namukulu at the Golf and Sports Club. People who attended the meeting shared their experiences about non-communicable diseases and prevention, referral support, patient information sharing between New Zealand and Australia GPs and the New FO Hospital, and also about specialist visits and available medications on the island. The Director of Health, Minerva Ikimo, told the meeting that the direction for the Health Department over the next few years will be heavily on prevention. She said that it's not helpful to talk about dialysis, and we can't be talking about those expensive and complicated treatments when we can actually do a lot more to prevent it. Professor Sukolan Tukuitonga from the University of Auckland said that Niue has one of the best healthcare systems in the Pacific compared to other countries like our neighbours Tonga. He spoke about the help he and his team are providing to the Director of Health and the Health Department to help with this assessment at no cost to the government of Niue. Professor Tukuitonga said that there is a lot of work that needs to be done, but he said it is also important that people understand healthcare is a very expensive undertaking. Director of Health Minerva Ikimau said it is very important that the approach to preventative health care is a whole of society and whole of government approach. Already she is seeing some very good programs such as the ongoing Tuapa health and fitness programs and also some new initiatives from the Alofi South Village Council. She is encouraging more community-based programs like these to prevent non-communicable diseases. The second phase of the New Zealand-funded Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Project is progressing with the arrival of the first lot of containers with solar panels. Located at Hikuwhenonga, Tamakotonga, the $20.5 million New Zealand dollar project will be the largest solar farm facility on the island. According to the New Zealand High Commission, the first 17 containers arrived earlier this month from a total of 60 containers. Over the coming months, more containers will arrive to bring more solar modules. The project supervisor, Will Langslow, is already on the island to work with the local team at the Utilities Department led by Clinton Chapman. They will construct and install the largest solar farm on the island. The New Zealand-funded $20 million project was officially launched by New Zealand Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs Winston Peters in July last year. A virtual meeting between Prime Minister Dalton Tangelangi and Fiji Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka was held earlier this month. According to the government press release, the meeting was initiated by the Fiji Prime Minister, who is the current chair of the Melanesian Spearhead Group. He said that hearing directly from fellow Pacific leaders is important to foster deeper collaboration across the region. Prime Minister Dalton Tangelangi took the opportunity to acknowledge the contributions of the Fijian community in Niue, and he also highlighted the significance of the diplomatic relations between the two nations established in 2023. Here's more on that story. According to the press release, the Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka spoke about the broader regional context, reaffirming Fiji's commitment to peace and unity during a time of global uncertainty. Prime Minister Rabuka outlined the opportunities for Niue to engage in training programs offered by Fiji in the areas of police. Fiji's facilities are open for greater security cooperation and knowledge sharing across the Pacific, he says. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dalton Tangelangi welcomed these insights and affirmed Niue's support in working as a collective across the Pacific. He also acknowledged Fiji's strong contributions to global peacekeeping and commended these efforts as a vital service not only to Fiji but for the broader region. And we end our bulletin tonight with some fruitful news. It is not often we see trees laden with fruit here, but standing in a newly cleared field is a mandarin tree heavy with fruit. Some branches can be seen broken and on the ground due to the heavy load. This tree is one of the last remaining trees planted about 50 years ago as part of the agricultural program on the island. The fruits are not very big, but they are plentiful and make nice orange juice. And that's our news bulletin for tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our two reporters, Maria Satakala, who has returned to Fiji, and Moana Makapelu Lee, who has returned to New Zealand. From all of us here at BCN News, whakauelai mahaki. And to you, our viewers, thank you for joining us tonight. We will be back on Tuesday next week for our bulletin in Wangahau. Until then, I'm Esther Pavihi. Good night, nonofwa.